Protein is recommended everywhere, from fitness influencers to doctors. But here's what they're not telling you. Inside those proteins are bioactive peptides, tiny fragments that do far more than build muscle. They impact your skin, gut, and even your immune system.
These are basically these tiny compounds. They're organic, and they're made up of amino acids.
Right.
And so amino acids, of course, are the building blocks of proteins.
Yeah.
And what makes them so interesting is that they can potentially impact our body in a positive way.
Yeah.
They can impact functions in our body and contribute to our overall health.
That's exactly right. And you know what's interesting is that some bioactive peptides, they just exist in a free state, but most of them are actually kind of hidden away inside larger proteins. So they're kind of encrypted, if you will.
Okay.
And they need something to release them.
Yeah.
They need enzymatic processes to kind of unlock them and let them do their thing. It's a huge area of research. There are over 1,500 identified bioactive peptides in the BioPep database.
Sounds like this is a pretty cutting-edge area of food science and health.
It is for sure.
So let's start with hydrolysed collagen. I think a lot of people out there have at least heard of collagen.
Yeah, definitely. You know, collagen is a structural protein, and it's found in connective tissues in animals. And so through this process, hydrolysis, we can actually take that collagen and break it down into smaller pieces.
Using
water and enzymes.
Okay.
So we're basically breaking down that large protein into these bioactive peptides.
Let's talk about another source.
Okay.
Macroalgae.
Macroalgae. Seaweed.
I think most people know it as seaweed. So tell us about this.
So seaweed or macroalgae, it's a really rich source of protein.
Okay.
In fact, in some species, protein makes up almost half of the dry weight.
Really?
Almost half.
Wow. I had no idea.
And we're still kind of just figuring out what we can do with the proteins from macroalgae.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential there, especially when we're talking about blood pressure regulation.
What about other sources?
So there are tons of other sources.
Yeah.
One of the big ones is milk.
Okay.
Bovine milk, cheese, dairy products. They're all huge sources of both the precursor proteins and the bioactive peptides.
What about eggs?
Eggs are another great source of protein, and both the white and the yolk contain these potential bioactive peptides.
So we've covered some of the animal sources and some of the marine sources.
Right.
What about vegetal sources?
There are plenty of plant-based options.
Yeah.
Soy is one of the most well-studied fermented soy products in particular.
Okay.
Things like natto and tempeh, they're really good sources.
Okay, so we have a pretty good understanding of where these bioactive peptides come from. Let's talk about what they do. So once they're in our body, what are some of the things that they can do? What benefits can we see?
Well, the sequence of amino acids, that's what determines what the bioactive peptide is going to do.
Okay.
And there are a lot of different things that they can do.
Let's start with antioxidants.
So antioxidants are really important for protecting our cells from damage caused by free radicals.
Okay.
And free radicals are these unstable molecules that can actually contribute to aging and disease.
We want to get rid of them.
We do. And bioactive peptides can help us do that.
Okay.
Well, some of them can actually directly neutralize free radicals, and others can boost our body's own antioxidant defense systems.
Subscribe to Timeless Radiance for science-backed videos that decode the truth behind proteins, collagen, and what your body really needs to thrive.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you'll join us next time.